Tech for Senior, episode 42. Wow. Another week's gone by. I'd like to welcome everybody today. Thanks for coming. All the people, I guess we've got what, Bob, 98 on signed up?
Correct.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow, that's pretty cool. So welcome everybody and thank you for coming. I would also like to welcome the other side of our show, which of course is our YouTube Live. We are now streaming to the World Wide Web out through YouTube, and welcome to all the folks that are watching on YouTube Live. We are last week was our first week we did it, and we had 35 people watching, in addition to the about 100 that watched online as well. So welcome. We also had 120 people watch the taped version over the past week. So if you have not subscribed to our newsletter, please do so. You'll find that at www.techforsenior.com, and you can subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get it twice a week, and in there we put the links to the current shows and of course the playlist for all 42 episodes, which you can sit and watch for a long time. 42 hours of great entertainment. What do you say, guys? Right? Great entertainment. Welcome. So listen, I want to introduce our co-host today. Hewey, where are you?
I'm right here.
Okay. Do you want to say hello?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're glad we're here and you're here.
Yeah. He and I had a busy week this week. You had a great WinSig yesterday, didn't you? Lots of people come.
Yes, we had I think around 40, 50 people. It's recorded. I've got to get it up online yet, but we did a nice session on Windows Tips app and several other things, and then we did some reminiscing with some things I scanned with that scanner I demonstrated last month.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Great. All right. And Bob, how are you doing?
Just fine. I know if I'm here, I'm still alive.
Bob and I see each other every single day of the week. It doesn't matter what show I'm on or what course we're running or whatever. Bob is always there. So I know how he's doing because I see him every day, right?
That may change next week.
Yeah.
Getting busy. Yep.
Exactly. And Ray, what's things up in the mountains like? Are you getting some snow there yet?
No snow. Pretty dry up here. Temperatures at night in the high 20s, but every day it's either in the 60s. One day it was in the 70s last week. So amazingly warm winter so far.
There you go. Okay. And what's happening in Mesa, Dewey?
Well, big news around Maricopa County, Arizona is that sign up for COVID-19 vaccine began at 6 o'clock this morning, Arizona time. I went on the internet there on their website at 6:01, and I spent well over an hour, and then later learned that the website had crashed and is being redone and should be up later. So it was all to no avail.
Oh, well, so that's good though, that you're going to be getting the shot, eh?
Right. I think it's possible. May even happen yet this month because they have a number of sites with openings, I understand.
Excellent. So we have a great show for you today. Wow, we have so much. We packed so much in. But I wanted to let everybody know that next week, we actually have a guest speaker coming to talk. I predict this year will be the year of the Chromebook, which of course we talked about, and that was one of my predictions that I talked about. But it's also going to be the year of live streaming. And many of you may not know what live streaming is, but it is going to be the year of live streaming. And I predict by the end of the year, a lot of you will be doing live streaming. So to help us learn what live streaming is and how we can apply this, I have Michael Daniels, who is an expert on the subject. He has his own show. He and I have been on the show a number of times, and he is going to be our guest speaker next week, and he's going to be talking on live streaming, like using StreamYard and Restream. Many of you don't know, but you don't need any equipment. You can StreamYard's an app you put on your phone. You have the app on your phone. You don't need any equipment. It's got 3 buttons. That's all you need, and you can stream to the world, right? So it's pretty simple. It's really simple. So I think that it's should be a fun show next week. But let's get on with the show this week. But just before we do, who can tell me what the big event this week is?
CES.
Correct. CES. Now let me just share my screen for a second. And I wanted to show you something. This is me having breakfast this morning watching CES. Now, one of the things that you should, and we've talked about this before, is you should have YouTube on your television. If you don't have the YouTube app on your TV, on your smart TV, then you should get it installed, because there are a whole host of streaming services, live streaming services from CES. And you can sit and watch the whole show, which of course used to be a week-long, over 1 million people attended at CES in Las Vegas. This is the Consumer Electronics Show, the largest in the world. And this year, you can watch it from your kitchen table. I'm having breakfast here this morning, wondering what I'm going to talk about, and I'm watching CES. Now, how cool is that? So be sure and make sure that you, but the key is to have the YouTube app on your TV so that you can watch it. Anyway, I thought I would just mention that. Bob, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see what Bob has to say about security.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending January 8th, 2021. Telegram app can reveal your exact location. A researcher named Ahmed Hassan has found what could be considered a security problem for users of the messenger app Telegram. The vulnerability lies in the People Nearby feature, which shows users the proximity of other local users. Hassan first noted that it is a common practice for scammers to spoof a location, which fools Telegram servers. In order to join a group, the user of peddle fake Bitcoin investment and other such scams. He then used readily available hacking tools to spoof 3 locations in one area, using all 3 spoofed locations to triangulate the location of a user in the People Nearby feature. He was able to find the precise location of that user. This security problem enables an attacker to locate any Telegram user, commented Avast security evangelist Luis Carones. While it is true that the People Nearby option is turned off by default, if Telegram disregards this issue, it shows that privacy is not really a priority for them. For more information on this story, see the article in Ars Technica. Beware of second stimulus check scams. As the U.S. IRS sends out a second wave of financial support to citizens across the country, scammers are already trying to get in on the action. CNET listed the most common scams being launched, which include scams that promise faster payment deliveries. An easy way to identify a scam is to remember that the IRS will never text, call, or email recipients to get them to verify information. Another way to identify a scam is the nomenclature. The IRS will only refer to these payments as economic impact payments, not stimulus checks. Some scams also try to trick the user into paying a fee up front in order to receive the check, but the IRS will never require such a thing. Apple iMessage more private than WhatsApp. Users can now gain insight into how much data an app collects on them by looking at the new privacy labels Apple has added to its App Store. And one surprising revelation is that iMessage collects much less information than WhatsApp does, even though WhatsApp sends encrypted messages and claims privacy and security is in our DNA in its facts. The problem stems from all the metadata WhatsApp collects, which is data about a user's data, such as who is being messaged, when, and how often. According to Apple's privacy label, WhatsApp collects 16 categories of metadata, while iMessage collects only 6. For more information, see the article in Forbes. Singapore police use COVID-19 tracing app data in murder investigation. A clause in the Singapore Criminal Procedure Code allows local police to order anyone to produce any data for the purpose of criminal investigations, and that data can include Singapore COVID-19 tracing program Trace Together. A government official has confirmed that Trace Together data has already been used in one murder investigation. For more, read the story on ZDNet. Privacy advocates have written about the possibility associated risks of COVID-19 tracing apps ever since they were developed, and it was predicted they may be tapped for predatory surveillance at some point. But the Singapore government defends its decision to let police use the data, claiming it's to protect the safety and security of all Singaporeans. COVID-19 vaccine passports? These so-called vaccine passports have been in development over the past year and are starting to go through various trials and beta tests. The passports would be used by travelers to supplement their actual national passport and other boarding crossing documents as they clear customs and immigration barriers. The goal would be to have your vaccination documented in a way that it could be accepted and understood across different languages and national procedures. As you might imagine, it's a tall order. Already, the Australian airline Qantas is talking about requiring proof of vaccine against COVID-19 for all its passengers, both domestic and foreign, at some point in the future. What are your thoughts? And that wraps up the security news for this week. Stay safe and stay secure. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, that's going to be a tall order in finding a passport for your vaccines to be able to log everyone and be able to take it internationally with you when you travel. Eh?
My question is, when will that passport be something that'll be used for other than just the passport?
Yeah. So anyway, interesting times. All right, Dewey, let's get Dewey's segment up now. Let's see what Dewey has to say today.
No, that's Hewey's.
Hewey, right.
Oh, you.
Good morning, friends. This is Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is Internet by Satellite has new competition. More than a year ago, Amazon announced they were launching a new home internet service. It's being launched or developed by an Amazon subsidiary called Kuiper Systems, whose president happens to be a former SpaceX vice president. I find that interesting. Amazon is owned by Jeff Bezos. SpaceX Starlink is owned by Elon Musk, who also builds the SpaceX rockets. By the way, Elon Musk's wealth of nearly $190 billion just surpassed that of Amazon's Jeff Bezos. That makes Elon Musk the richest man in the world. Bezos said his goal with Amazon Home Internet is to provide broadband everywhere by launching thousands of low Earth orbit, sometimes called LEO, satellites. For what it's worth, SpaceX Starlink has even slightly lower LEO satellites that are geostationary, unlike those planned by Amazon's Kuiper Systems subsidiary, which move in relation to the Earth's surface. Our LEO satellites, Bezos says, will provide relatively equal broadband over the surface of the Earth, even though coverage tends to be more concentrated toward the poles, unfortunately. Our broadband access could reach areas that have previously been underserved, including rural areas and developing countries. Bezos continued, you end up servicing the whole world. So that's really good. By definition, you end up accessing people who are under bandwidth. Interesting word, under bandwidth, in very rural areas and remote areas. And I think you can see going forward that internet, access to the broadband is going to be very close to being a fundamental human need as we move forward. Also, because of their relative closeness to the Earth, these LEO satellites will provide a quality of service and latency comparable to wired cable and fiber broadband providers. How about the cost? Amazon says it's too early to know the monthly cost of their home internet service. However, with several players in the game, competition should help keep costs down. Rather than offering internet directly to customers like SpaceX Starlink plans to do, Amazon Home Internet Service will go through local firms and internet providers. It's important to understand that the first of Amazon's Kuiper Systems subsidiaries, 3,236 satellites, has yet to be launched in this $10 billion and 10-year endeavor. So they haven't launched a thing yet. Finally, it needs to be mentioned that there is a significant third contender called OneWeb heating up this internet by satellite race, even though OneWeb had a cash crunch and went bankrupt last March. However, the British government and Indian mobile network operator Bharti Global acquired OneWeb with equal bargain basement investments of just $500 million. By mid-2022, OneWeb's satellite constellation is planned to cover the entire globe, every square inch of the world, the founder and chairman of Bharti Enterprises said recently. OneWeb has put 74 of an initial 648 planned spacecraft into orbit so far, and there will be many, many more to come, and plans to resume launches soon. However, it's not yet secured all the funding it needs to complete the constellation. Of course, in the time since OneWeb went into bankruptcy, Elon Musk has built a formidable lead using his own SpaceX rockets to launch hundreds of satellites for his Starlink constellation. Unlike OneWeb, Starlink's service isn't set to cover the extreme north and south parts of the planet for now. This offers OneWeb a potential niche for serving governments, shipping, and aviation in those remote regions. OneWeb has put 74 of an initial 648 planned spacecraft in orbit so far and plans to resume launches in early 2021. However, it's not yet secured all of the funding it needs to complete the constellation. By the way, later generations of OneWeb satellites are slated to also provide global positioning, which is GPS capabilities. Well, thank you much. That's my tech story for today, and I'm sticking with it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and have a great day.
Thank you, Dewey. Did you want another 30 seconds or did you already
No,
talk
I just
about...
need, yes, I do need another 30 seconds.
Okay.
First, I just noticed that I had a wrong word in there. The word aviation, which appeared like in the third screen from the end, that should have been navigation. And I have another thing to mention. In the last screen of my presentation, I said that OneWeb has put 74 satellites in orbit so far. Shortly after I recorded this presentation, I learned that OneWeb resumed their launching in three weeks ago in December, and now has 110 satellites in orbit. So the score to date, Starlink 955, OneWeb 110, and Jeff Bezos 0. Okay, have a nice day.
And I promise everyone to write out Dewey Close 100 times and Hewey Poplick 100 times so I get it right.
And it's Pop Lock, not Pop Lick.
Pop lock. So anyway, all right. So we will, I promise to do that and I will get better, but I must be dyslexic. I always get you guys mixed up. I don't know what it is anyway. Hewey, have you got something for us today?
I certainly do. And I'd like to preface it with the fact that I'm a member of the Sarasota Technology User Group, it's called STUG. And every December, when they had meetings in a room, in a big room, they would have what they call the circle of learning. And there would be tables set up around the room, usually about 6 or 8 of them. And there'd be one of the members would do a 15-minute presentation at each table. There would be different members of the group at each table giving a presentation, and they would do it over and over again. And someone would sound a bell at the end of the 15 minutes. Everyone would move to another table of their choice and would get to see all of them. And then in between, they could take one of the sessions and grab a slice of pizza and some refreshments. This year, of course, we had to do everything virtually. So what we did was I think it was 5 or 6 presentations for around 15, 17 minutes each, and one after the other. So all of the members got to see all of them if they wanted to. Then we recorded them and put them up on YouTube. And I'm going to use one of those for my section today. And it's by Bill Crow and Marcia Berkey on widgets on Android and iOS. So let me go ahead and share my screen, make sure I got the sound on, and get started. Okay, next on our agenda is Widgets with Marcia Berkey and Bill Crow. And I think both of you have co-hosts, so you should be able to share. Not sure which one of you is going to share your screen, but take it away.
Hewey, and
I'm not hearing it. Are you?
Welcome, everyone. We're so glad that you came and that you support Stug. It's wonderful to see you. I'm Marcia Berkey, and I'm a little bit Android.
And I'm Bill Crow, and I'm a little bit of iOS. And we're going to talk to you today about widgets. Go ahead.
I will be covering how to use them on Android devices.
Would somebody
and
just
I'll be covering how to use them on Apple devices.
Well,
We're going to start with Android. I wanted to show you a little bit about widgets. And Android has had widgets for over 10 years. They're not as necessary now as they used to be because, and the only reason for that is because the apps have gotten so good that they don't rely on widgets nearly as much. But I will show you some examples of them. I'll show you how you add them and how I might use them. For example, here on the home screen, I have a widget for weather, and it's showing me it's 70 degrees right now in Sarasota and the date and when it was updated, and a little visual of how it looks outside. That's up to date. It's real time, although it shows you when it was last updated, and that's due to the weather app, not to the widget. If I click on it, I can go to the app itself. If I go to another screen, I will show you another widget, and that's this notes widget. So if I wanted to see notes, then I can have this up here. It will show me, you can see that it's larger, and that's called a 2 by, if you can picture the screen, it's in this grid, and each of the icons is a grid. That might be a 2 by 3, but different widgets take up different amounts, and some of them you can set for yourself. Now, most widgets, they tell you they're on the home page, but you can actually put them on any page that you want. I'm going to go back to the home screen by clicking on the circle in the middle bottom, and that takes me back to my home screen. All of these icons, except for the weather, are shortcuts to apps. And if I swipe in an empty spot on the home screen, it will take me to all of my apps, and I have them sorted alphabetically. You can see the 3 vertical dots on the right of the search bar. If I click on that, then it has a choice for sort, and I have it alphabetical. You can do a custom order if you want, but I do alphabetical. Just makes it a little bit easier to find my apps, so I can scroll through and find those. I'll go back by pressing the little back arrow in the bottom right on my Android, but it's in different places for different Androids. All of these icons are shortcuts to the apps that we found by swiping up in an empty area. Within an empty area on the home screen, if you press and hold, don't swipe up, just press and hold, then it brings up this window, and down below you can see the wallpaper if you wanted to choose a different background, themes, widgets, that's where we're going, or the home screen settings. So we're going to go to widgets, and I'll tap on widgets, and it tells me different widgets that I can have right here. And all of these dots down on the bottom right, they show more pages, so that if I swipe, it will show me, you'll see that the highlighted dot moves over and it shows me other widgets that I can get. So I can just scroll through all these and find any widget that I want. And notice that each widget has a size on it, 4 by 2, 2, 3, different 5 by 1. So they take up a little bit more space. You can just keep going through these. You might want to add the widget. If I added the Gmail widget, like I have a shortcut to Gmail app, but if I added the Gmail widget, it would actually be showing me my email list on my screen. If you wanted to, you can click in the search bar, or you could click on the microphone if you wanted to search by voice and just search for a widget. Let's see, there's a lot of them for clocks. Search for clocks, and you can find different ones as well. When I click on clock, there's different choices. Do I want a dual clock showing my time and someone else's time? Digital, analog, alarm. We'll just say we want, we'll say dual clock. It will take up space. And let me see where I have a daughter in Hawaii. Ooh, this is a different kind of map. So I'm going to type it in. Hey, add. So here we have Eastern and Hawaii time. And that way I don't color too early. But you can see that it's rearranged my other icons. That's all there is to widgets. I hope that was helpful for you. Different Androids may react differently. You may have to find them differently. So if this doesn't work on your Android, I would go to YouTube, type in how to add a widget on, and be specific on the model of your Android. And I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.
What we didn't mention to you is what if we look at the big picture, what are widgets? Widgets are little bits of information provided from various applications you may have, as Marcia described. With iOS 14 and with all Android devices, these widgets are available to you. Now, not all applications produce widgets, right? But many of them can generate information that's readily available. On the iPhone and the iPad, as you see on your screen, we have an iPhone on one side and an iPad on the other. To get to them, if I put my finger right there and drag it this way on the iPhone or iPad, and if I put it here on the iPhone, and again, drag from left to right, I can see the widgets that I have. Now, Apple was late to the ballgame with widgets, and they came out with widgets called, I'll call them the old widgets and new widgets. And if you scroll up on your device, right, you can see that I have a set of what we'll call old widgets that are surrounded by a gray box. And there's the activity monitor, air, app in the air, and app advance, right? Are some apps that I have there that they're the old style. But if I scroll up further, each app is highlighted in general. In order to edit apps on either device, on either device, your iPhone or your iPad, you would tap and hold in a blank area and the widgets start shaking. Now you could have done it. You could have done it here by clicking and holding. They start shaking, and then you shift left to right. And there's the new widgets are up here, and the old ones are down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate all the old ones. So I hit the custom button, and I go minus, remove, and minus, remove. Okay, so now the only widgets I have are the new ones. All right, in order to add a new one, we forget about custom down here and we go plus sign. Oops, let me do it. I get them to wiggle and I click on the plus sign. And then Apple comes up and says, well, I have all these widgets I pre-made for you. Do you want one of those? You can click on one of those and get it. For example, if I wanted my notes, I would just click here, I think, and I could drag it down and put it right there. Now let me add another one. Oops. Plus sign. Now, if I don't want one of the widgets that have been made for me, I scroll up, and here's all the apps that Apple has and that other apps that are on my device have that are capable of generating a widget. So if I want the weather app, I would come down here and click on it. Now there's something different here between this and the Android. When I click on it, it comes up and says, what size widget would you like? Small, medium, or large? Right? So I'm going to take a medium sized one and I'm just say add widget, and it adds it. Not bad, huh? Now I'm going to add 2 weather widgets, and that'll explain why when I get them done. So I click that, and I'm going to scroll down again. Oop, down to the weather. I click on weather, and I want to make it another medium-sized one. Oop, come on. And I click add. So now you're saying, well, that's dumb, Bill. You got 2 Sarasota weathers. That's true. That's true. All right. Now, if I wanted to change something about that application, there's a way to go in and change it. If I long press the widget, it says I can remove it, I can edit on home screen, or I can edit the widget. I'm going to edit the widget. And each widget has something like this, and it says, oh, I can change the location. So I'm going to click the location, and I'm going to say Cupertino, right? Or I could say location, and I could actually type a new location up here, like, let's say Underhill Santa, Vermont, right? They don't have one. How about, there it is, Underhill, Vermont, and I'll click on that. All right. So now hopefully I have one widget that's Underhill. It's 53 degrees there and 68 degrees in Sarasota, Florida. Okay, so all widgets have that capability in them. If you long press the widget, you can edit the widget, and each one's edit is slightly different. Okay, now, cool thing about the widgets here is you can change their location. If I go to my phone now, let me go to my phone. And I can move them around. I can move them up and down. Whoops. Got to get them to shake first. I can change the order of them, right? On the iPhone, they give you the capability to move them onto your home screen. So I'm going to make them shake on my iPhone. And I'm going to move that one that says Sarasota weather there. I'm going to put my finger on it and I'm going to move it to the left. And now I'm going to put it on my home screen. Oops, too far. Okay, so now that widget is on my home screen. Now the cool thing, and on the iPad, you could have a piece stay on your iPad versus going from left to right on the screen. You could go to Settings, Home Screen and Dock, and say you want more. And then if you go back to the home screen, and now the widgets show up here, okay? And your actual applications are shrunk in size a little bit. Key thing here is I wanted to show you is it's something called a stack. For example, on my iPhone, it says the Sarasota weather. If I put my finger, whoops, sorry about that, I tapped it and it takes me to that application. If I put my finger here and just pull it down, it gives me other things that are in the stack. Like I have my weather, I have music, I have maps, and I have my stock, and I have on this day. And remember, I think, did I put the stack? I'm going to stack the two Underhill and Sarasota, and I'll put one on top of the other. Now there's a stack there. And if I put my finger on it and pull it down, whoops, in the middle, when they're not wiggling, and pull it down, we get the different applications there. And that, my friends, are widgets, Apple and Android.
So, let me stop that. Widgets can be edited. They can be moved on any of these devices, and they can be very useful for you. Do realize that because they are real time, they're going to drain your battery faster. So they're all taking energy. And just if your battery's going down and that's an issue, look to your widgets. We hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Well,
I don't know.
thank you very much. That was interesting, Huey.
I don't know what happened, but I lost my audio. I didn't hear a thing for the
Oh, really?
whole
No, I heard it.
section.
Did anyone have problems? I heard it fine.
Yep.
Everybody was good.
Anyway, it is, for those of you who want to watch it again, you'll be able to see it on our recording here on
Right.
Tech for Seniors. The recording will be up probably by tomorrow, or you can go to the Sarasota Technology User Group channel on YouTube, and all of the sections that we did for the Circle of Learning are there, including the one I did on Poster My Wall. Thank you.
All right, excellent. All right, I have a little something for everybody. I wanted to talk about my new Fitbit Sense watch. So we will see that. This is a video I produced. It's got I think over 400 views already. So this is on YouTube, but you can have a look at this. This is the misunderstood Fitbit Sense watch. On Black Friday, November 27th, I bought my Fitbit Sense. On November 30th, I had it boxed up in my car and was heading back to Best Buy to return it. What changed my mind? It's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. I would really appreciate it if you like this video, if you'd click the like, and if you'd like to see more videos from this channel, please subscribe. Now let's get on with the misunderstood Fitbit Sense. The Fitbit Sense is the first watch to be released by Fitbit since Google purchased it. The new management team and medical advisors have created this watch, which of course is a watch. It also is an activity tracker, but more important, it's a medical device. There are some very sophisticated sensors in this watch to monitor bodily functions, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, who am I? Well, first of all, I'm a senior, so I'm interested in monitoring my health so that I can stay healthy. I'm also a physician. I've had 30 years of experience looking after folks. I produce a weekly technology show called Tech for Seniors. And my role in that is really to teach seniors about technology. Now, I've produced a number of videos on watches, and my interest in watches is the health monitoring aspect of the watch. And I've created a number of videos. One of them is called Saving Your Life with Wearable Technology Part 1. I've given this presentation to over 100 computer clubs and organizations across Canada and the United States. And we look at specific medical problems seniors have, how these watches can help early diagnosis and identification of problems. Now, a lot of the criticism of the Fitbit Sense is because the people doing the reviews are not medical people and they just don't understand how the watch is meant to be. And probably I don't think Google has done a good job in explaining the watch either. So let me try and do this and explain why I kept my Fitbit Sense and why I think the watch is actually a good watch and you should try it. So what were the requirements for my new watch? Well, the first thing I wanted it to be able to tell me what my heart rate was. If you watch my video, Saving Your Life with Wearable Technology Part 1, I talk about a heart rate that's too slow, in which you may need a cardiac pacemaker, and I talk about when your heart rate is too fast, and this could be atrial fibrillation, which is a major cause of stroke. So too slow or too fast, I want a watch that's going to continually monitor my heart rate and tell me if it's going too slow or too fast. These are conditions that increase exponentially after the age of 60. That's item number one. Item number two, I wanted the ECG feature. Now again, if you watch my video, I go in and explain all the how the ECG feature works. Basically, if you feel dizzy, you feel unwell, you will touch the watch in some way and it will do a single lead ECG. So it actually does an ECG and it then stores it as a PDF file on your phone. It's not just the fact that it does the ECG, but it also interprets the ECG and it says you either have atrial fibrillation or you don't have atrial fibrillation. Now, it's important to understand with this that this is a medical device. In order for a watch to have the ECG atrial fibrillation ability, it has to be FDA approved as a medical device, just as an anesthetic machine would be in a hospital. So these devices have been approved. All three watches have been approved by the FDA. Now, the third one, I wanted to be able to look at my oxygen saturation. Now, this technology has been around for a long time. It's available on a lot of different devices, and it is not FDA approved, and it's not accurate. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I wanted also to have my temperature taken. Again, temperature is pretty easy to do. The fourth item, and I was holding out because the Samsung Galaxy 3 will be able to take your blood pressure. Now, this is sort of cool technology, and I plan on doing a video all about this. But in short, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 3 will be able to monitor your blood pressure. Pretty cool. And it is being approved by the equivalent of the FDA in South Korea. And it has, and that app now is on the watch. It's pending approval by the FDA in the United States, but I expect that probably to be approved this year. So I think that's something I'm probably going to want, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Not a critical issue for me is fall detection. I'd like my watch to answer as a phone and also maybe play some music, but we'll talk a little bit about that later on. But the critical ones were the first 5 that I mentioned there, and we'll talk about how I made my decision.
So how does the watch work? Well, the first thing with this watch is that you must wear it 24/7. Now, for just under 70 years, I've always taken my watch off at bedtime, and I've never slept with my watch on. So if you are going to buy the Fitbit Sense, you have to wear it 24/7. And the reason for that, and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, is most of the monitoring is done at night, in the evening when you're asleep. So you have to wear it at bedtime. You have to wear it 24/7. Now, the nice thing about the Fitbit Sense is that it has an excellent battery in it. And what happens is that in the morning when I get up, I have breakfast, and then I go and have a shower. Now, you can wear it in the shower, but I take mine off. When I take it off in the morning, it's got about a 70% charge. What I do is I put it on the quick charge, and within the 20 minutes I'm in doing my morning thing, I come out, it's charged to 100%. So in 20 minutes, it'll charge the watch up to 100%, and boom, you're good to go till the next day. So you must wear it for the 24 hours. The first thing you'll notice about this watch is the brilliant display. Oh my gosh, it is so bright and so clear. The AMOLED watch face that's on there is unbelievable. I was so scared when I got it because it's so beautiful. I don't want it to be scratched. Now it is Gorilla Glass on there, but I'm still worried about that. So you'll see in the slide here some clip-on covers that you can buy. These are real cheap. They work great, and you just clip them on, and you can. It's a protector for this beautiful display on the watch. 2 things you can do. If you want to keep the brilliant display, then it's an intermittent image on the watch face, so it's not an always on. And I don't mind that. I thought I really would want it to be always on, but it really doesn't matter to me. If I turn my wrist or tap it, it comes on and I can see what the time is or whatever information I want. So I've just left it like that. If you want a continuous on, then you have to change the display to another clock face, and it isn't quite as bright because it doesn't want to use as much power if it's going to be on all the time. But as far as I'm concerned, I like the brilliant, beautiful face that's on there, and I left it as to factory default settings.
All right, let's look at what your Fitbit Sense will actually monitor and measure. On the left-hand side of the slide, you'll see my breathing rate, and this gives the breaths per minute, the average per night. And you'll see in the week that I'm showing you there, that was my average breath per minute per night. On the right-hand side, you'll see my resting heart rate. Again, this is an average of the sleep time that this is measured while you're sleeping, and this is an average of your sleeping time, your resting heart rate. And that is mine on the right-hand side for a week. You can either have the data shown as per week or per month. Oxygen saturation and skin temperature are 2 parameters we measure that I think is much better done on the Fitbit
because it is measuring an average over the time when you sleep. I think this is much more accurate than single measurements through the day. Let me explain how this works. So if you look to the left, you'll see my oxygen saturation per day as it's measured. It's an average as it's measured through the night. There would be 3 situations when this could be very valuable, particularly last year. So let's say in California, with all the fires and the smoke, if you had COPD, asthma, emphysema, you may find that you started to desaturation before you became symptomatic. And this would be a good way of monitoring yourself, because you may need a medication adjustment or you may need to see your physician. Item 2 is let's say that you had COVID-19, really had no symptoms, and were self-isolating. If you saw overnight that your SATs were going down, this would be a very, very worrisome situation and would really require medical care. Item 3, let's suppose you didn't know you had COVID-19, you were feeling fine, you went to bed and you woke up and your SATs started to drop and you started to feel a little bit unwell. Again, this could be a clue that you have a very serious illness and medical attention would be required. So for these 3 reasons, I think this is an excellent way to monitor your health. Also, skin temperature. We're going to measure your skin temperature for the period of time while you sleep, not just a single point through the day. We're going to do an average through the night and tell you if your temperature has gone up or gone down. Now, most of the time your temperature stays exactly, your core temperature in your body always stays the same. But it could be that if you, the early signs of one of those infections I just discussed could be a rising of your temperature, and that would easily show up with the monitoring Fitbit does through the night. Heart rate variability indicates the health of your heart. I'm going to do a separate video on this and discuss how this works, but the important thing for you to know is that heart rate variability, the higher the number, the healthier your heart is. Now, the other thing that's important to note that heart rate variability depends on your age. And I have put a graph on this slide so that you can sort of compare what your heart rate variability is with your age. So more to come on that. Now, Fitbit has a separate app to help you with your sleep. And it, of course, measures your sleep through the night and will give you a sleep score. And then there are lots of things you can work on with the information it gives you to help get a better sleep. And since most seniors have a lot of trouble sleeping, this is a great watch for seniors to help them improve their sleep. So in summary, you have to remember this is the first watch the new development team has produced since Fitbit was purchased by Google. And I have to believe that there's going to be greatness coming. So if you're a Googler and you're watching this from Google, I've got lots of faith in you, so let's make it happen. Why I think this is going to be a great watch is because of an article I read last week. And this was out of the tech news, and it was Fitbit's new ECG technology that could take wearables to the next level. Now, I've told you in this video that this watch monitors your heart rate. And I've also told you that it can identify atrial fibrillation. But it doesn't continually monitor your heart for arrhythmias. Despite having very good heart monitoring capability, the software hasn't been put on there. Now, in the medical field, we have it's been around for a very long time, we have the ability to measure your heart rate on an ongoing basis and actually interpret and see if you have any worrisome arrhythmias, anything seriously going on with your heart. This has been around for a long time, and this could easily be applied. Since we are continually monitoring your heart, we should be able to identify any serious
arrhythmias that are occurring on an ongoing basis, a continually monitoring basis. And this article that I read last week indicates that's coming to the Fitbit Sense. So this is going to be a great watch. I have faith in it. It's Ron Brown, Tech for Seniors. All right. Ray, are you getting ready? Just before before Ray starts, I want to, we're going to be signing off from YouTube. So for all those in the YouTube channel that are live streaming, thank you for watching. We'll be live streaming again next week. If you want to watch Ray's segment and the rest of the video, it will be available later today online, so you can watch the whole show. So thank you for coming, those on YouTube Live. I'm just going to sign off. And Ray, if you want to get going, you're welcome. We're now shutting down YouTube Live. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Thank you very much, Ron. And Ron today, for the first time, didn't ask me about toe tapping. Normally, every week he says his toes are getting ready to tap. Well, today I do have a clip that'll allow him to do just that. When I first watched this YouTube video about it's called Song and Dance Moves from Old Movies, I thought to myself, I have pretty much these songs. Anyway, so of course, investigation alone, this is actually a gentleman named Mickey Muck. He was born in native of Sweden, no less, and is considered to be one of Europe's best rock and roll artists. So apparently, I'm not the only one who mistakenly took Mickey's voice for that of Jerry Lee. So much so that Mickey ended up recording another song titled "I'm Not Jerry Lee," which is worth checking out on YouTube. And I will have this clip and the links to it in the newsletter. So anyway, speaking of the killer, Jerry Lee Lewis, who turned 85 years old this past September, it's somewhat sad that I believe Jerry Lee is probably the only remaining living pioneer of rock and roll and rockabilly music. He was there at the beginning, having recorded his first song for Sun Records in 1957, Whole Lot of Shaking Going On, a remake of a song originally recorded by a female R&B singer, Big Maybelle, in 1955. Now, as I'm about to show this clip to you, I will admit that the quality of these videos is not the best, unfortunately. So for a similar type, check out Movie Stars Dancing to I'm So Excited. And I'm going to include the link for that in the newsletter as well.
Toe tapping for sure, Ray.
Okay, I'm glad I was able to acknowledge this week.
Yeah. So how many takes do you think they did on that couch scene to get them all so they just went perfectly? I bet you they did a lot of takes on that.
That wasn't recently. I mean, that was probably from the 40s or early 50s.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, great segment. Thanks so much.
Yeah, my mind says I can dance like that. My body says no way.
Hey, guess what? It's 10 o'clock. It's another hour's gone by. Another episode has gone by. A lot of fun we had. I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. Hewey, how are you doing? You gonna be around next week?
I hope so. Got a couple of weeks anyway.
Okay. And Bob, I guess I'll be seeing you every day this week, eh? You're muted.
Same time next week. I have 3 things going on at the same time. It'll be fun.
And Ray, when are you going to start shoveling snow? Do you get snow up there?
We get snow usually every season. I'll get 3 or 4 storms, 12 inches maybe at a time. One year we had 36 inches at once. Nothing this year.
All right. And listen, Dewey, thank you for picking my oranges. Make sure you go by, you and Joanne go by and make sure if there's any more oranges on the tree, be sure and have them.
By the way, I want to mention to Ray, I thought there would be a clip, that famous clip of Bob Hope and Jimmy Cagney dancing on a tap dancing on a table. It's absolutely outstanding. So you should look it up. Bob Hope and Jimmy Cagney.
There you go. That's your segment for next week. All right. So listen, so thank you very much. We're going to consider the meeting over now. As we said before, we are going to stay online till about 8:15 for any question answer segment, for a question answer segment. For those of you who want to stay and you have any questions about the show today or about anything we talked about, I guess we'll do the hands up or just I'm not quite sure. Say hello or something, and we'll try and get your questions because I can't see all the screens in front of me. Anyway, maybe Bob and Hewey and Dewey maybe can keep an eye on the screens and see if anyone has their hands up. We'll open it up for any questions. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
Greg.
Yeah, for that guy that did the Apple apps, I have 11. My 11 cell phone doesn't work like that at all.
Now I wonder what version. Hewey, how long ago was that done?
December.
So that should be, what is Apple up to, 14 or 13?
I think 12, I think.
12.
12. So, and what are you on, Greg?
11.
So is there that much difference between 11 and 12? I mean, I don't know. I'm not an Apple person.
I think widgets still work on 11.
Well, when I touch that screen, I cannot bring up that little deal that he had on the side of that cell phone of his to let me put that in.
Well, do a little research.
It's a setting that you have to go in and turn it on.
Oh,
Edith
I
Brzezinski and
can't
George
remember
Bowden
what
have their hands up.
Okay.
thank you.
All right. So it's a setting that you have to do. Chris Brzezinski, Chris and Edith, say something.
Yes, my question is that I want to know what happened to the app drawer because my phone is a little older, an Android phone, and I can't find what used to be the app drawer or how to get to a list of all my apps, not just the ones that are on my screen.
If you take a look, if you move your finger up from the middle of your screen on any of your screens, it'll take you to the app drawer. There's no longer the little icon for it, but if you do that, it'll take you up. You can also go to settings and you can restore the app drawer logo.
Where do you go on settings?
Well, let me look at my phone. Hold on.
That will vary according to your version of Android.
Correct.
Yeah, but
And it'll vary also by manufacturer. What's the manufacturer of your phone?
Mine is an LG
Okay.
8ThinQ.
Okay, mine's a Samsung, but let me look it up and I'll get back with you.
I think it's called the Play Store.
well, no, it's a setting to get what she's speaking of. If you touch the gear, and I think it's under appearance.
Display.
And George Bowden has his hand up.
George, go ahead.
Regarding your Fitbit watch, there was some discussion about the difference between reflective and transmittive blood sensors. When COVID fairly early started, I picked up one of these that you put on the end of your finger.
Right.
And it's a transmissive. The light on one side goes through your finger and is measured on the other side. And there was quite a bit of criticism of some of the other, which would be like the kind on the watch, that are reflective. In other words, they transmit into the skin and then come back out on the same side. Did you think about that?
Yes, and that's why I said in my talk that I didn't think it was very accurate for the watch. Remember, I said in there that I didn't think that the oxygen sensors on watches were a great idea, except in the Fitbit sense. And one of the problems is exactly what you mentioned, because it's how you wear the watch on your wrist. You know, if your watch is loose on the wrist, if it's not making adequate contact, then you're absolutely correct. The recording of that oxygen level isn't going to be that great. Now, the nice thing about the Fitbit is it's not like the Galaxy where you can go and hit, touch it and it will tell you what your saturation is because it's measuring right now. What the Fitbit will, you can't do that. There's no way on the Fitbit you can touch it to tell you what your oxygen level is at that time. You have to use the app that measures it all through the night. In other words, it's going to give you an average of your, while you're resting and your watch is on your wrist, it's going to do an average of your whole night's sleep and tell you what the oxygen level is. And I think that's a better recording than actually just pushing it, through the day and saying what it is. And you have to also remember that these are not FDA approved. The one that you have on the end of your finger is called pulse oximetry, and that's been around 30, 40 years, right? Back when I was a medical student a long time ago, they had that technology was there. And you're right, it measures the it's a light that shines through, and it measures the difference in the color of the oxygen from oxygen laden hemoglobin to those that didn't have, it's a darker color that doesn't have oxygen. So it measures it on the visual aspect of that.
And there are Bluetooth versions. This one does not have Bluetooth. There are Bluetooth versions which can then log over time what your sense is. So.
Right. But that's why I like the Fitbit Sense, is because it's measuring it as an average over the night. And I think you get a much better recording from that.
Yeah. One last comment. The phrase for 2021 is "you're on mute."
All right. Yes. Anyone else?
Yes. Can I mention something?
I have an answer.
Sorry, Mary. Go ahead. Sorry, Mary. Mary is following up on that question. Do you want to sort of give us an update on that?
Yes. You go to settings, and then you go to the home screen and wallpaper area. You click on home screen, and it goes to, you scroll down until you find, wait a minute, let me find it again. Oh, shoot, I lost it. Wait a minute.
Shall I kick in here while she's looking?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'd like to just mention something regarding blood oxygen levels. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, but I do have some input on this. I have worn a CPAP machine for 8 years, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in this esteemed group who wears one. Now, if you wear a CPAP machine, and if you're into this type of thing, you probably know about something called the AHI index. That stands for apnea hypopnea index. Kind of strange stuff. The AHI index is composed of two types of apneas and hypopnea. Now, the hypopnea does involve it pretends to take that it can see your blood oxygen level, but it can't. So it's doing it kind of falsely. But here's the point. If while you are sleeping with a CPAP machine, and if you wake up in the morning and you feel fully rested, your blood oxygen level probably has remained good. But if you wake up and you feel like you never went to bed, you probably have a bad blood oxygen level and true hypopneas as you're sleeping. That's my input.
Yes, and I have a CPAP machine as well, Dewey, and I exactly the same situation. Really, and I would be very surprised if my oxygen sats went down at night because I have a CPAP machine, and they shouldn't, right? I mean, that's the whole point of it. But if you didn't have a CPAP machine and you saw that you had significant desaturation, then that certainly be something to see.
Sure.
Mary, did you get?
Yes, I have it. Okay.
Sorry, Mary, did you get it?
After you go into the home screen settings, scroll down, and there's an item called app button. It says to show the button on the home screen that opens the app screen. So turn that on, and that will get you to your app drawer. It'll put an icon on your home screen for the app drawer.
Great. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. And if
John Roy has a question.
Okay,
Yes.
just a minute. And you can also watch this on replay as well if you can't remember all of the whole sequence. Who is next?
John Ray.
I think I
Troy.
am, Ron. Excellent
John?
presentation, by the way, on the Fitbit. But the question I have, you prefaced your presentation with packaging up and returning the watch, and you never really talked about it again.
Well, the first problem, yeah, I mean, it's as I learned more about the watch and the different ways that it worked, and that, you know, one of the first things I when I got the watch, I wanted to measure my oxygen level, right? And you know, there's no button that you can push on the watch to be able to tell you what the oxygen level is. In other words, and so it works a bit different than it's not like the Galaxy where you actually tap it and it's going to tell you what things are. In the Fitbit sense, you run the apps overnight and it measures the stuff, and then you get in the morning you get a report and it will tell you what has happened over the night. Okay, and so it was learning that changed my mind. All right, because when I initially got it, I couldn't figure out how to do that, and I thought it was too complicated and it wasn't going to work. And why did I just spend $400 on this watch that wasn't going to do what I wanted it to do? That's why I kept it, because it works a little bit differently. I will say though that, you know, you have to remember it does not have fall detection. It does not have the ability to integrate into your phone. So there are some issues with the watch, but I think I trust Google and I think greatness is coming. This is their flagship watch that is being sold around the world. It actually is very successful. They sold an awful lot of this watch, and I expect that we're going to see a lot of apps that are going to come on stream for this watch in the next 3 years. So that's sort of where I am with the watch.
Did you keep the watch or did you return it?
I kept it. I've got it on right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, Bob, go ahead.
I'm waiting for my Wise $20 smartwatch. Get here.
Yeah, I ordered one too.
It won't be until sometime in February, but for $20, who cares? If it just keeps time well, it'll be well spent.
What's the matter with a Pebble?
Yeah. So, you all can, yes, indeed. Now, hey, I forgot to mention in the show today, I have purchased, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I have another announcement next week. You're going to have to wait. And I bought some technology that Bob and Hewey don't have, right? And they
will
don't
have
it,
soon.
right? And
I'll save my money this week.
And they don't have this, right? And I'm going to be announcing it next week. I forgot to mention that, but I'm going to be announcing it next week. And they are going to be green with envy. All right. So they are going to be so upset. But I got one of these devices, and I'm going to show you guys next week.
Is it going to be very expensive, or?
I'm not telling.
Must be only available in Canada.
I'm not telling
no
you guys
hints.
what it is. I'm not giving you any clues other than to say you will be green with envy and everyone's going to be in awe. Okay. So watch the show next week.
Cliffhanger.
Did you see you on CAS this morning?
Yeah, no. Well, there's a lot of stuff on CES that wow, there's some cool stuff coming up. Did you see that this morning they had this robotic thing that went around and it looked like a great big, well, yes, penis sticking up in the sky, and it had all these lights on it, and they were disinfecting lights, and so it went around. It was like our vacuum cleaner, right? And it would go around, and schools would use it, and they'd run around, and it went through the whole school, and it had this big disinfecting light that would disinfect for viruses, right? And so they were showing this morning at CES. I thought that was pretty cool.
Ron, a quick question, or anyone. How do you get that hand up symbol like Tom McAndrews has right now? Maybe Tom can answer it.
That's the same question I have. I don't see a hand. If you upgrade to the latest version of Zoom, it's in the reactions.
Yes, reaction, bottom middle of the screen at the bottom to the right.
It used to be in participants, but now they removed it. They moved it to reactions.
But you
Got
have
it.
to have the latest version. If you
Right.
don't have the latest version, it's not there. It's not the same as clapping hands.
Yep.
Raising hands is a little bit
Okay.
different.
Yep.
Okay, that's a
2.57.
raising.
All
Right.
right. So listen, you
do
guys,
have-
does anyone have a burning question on today's show? Because we are now at 10:20. I'd like to wrap it up if unless anyone has a specific
Yes,
question.
my hand's up.
Okay. Who I can't see you. Who
Yes,
is
my hand was up.
okay,
Tom
who is it?
Andrew. Tom
Andrew?
McAndrew.
Okay,
Tom
Tom
McAndrew.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to confirm that the Sense does not have anything that checks blood pressure. That's only the Galaxy.
Correct. It
All right,
does
thank
not.
you.
It does not.
Carl,
Hey,
Andrews has a
I
question.
just want to say thank you and a good show for all.
Carl Kalenda has his hand up.
Okay, Carl?
Yeah, hi. I have the Samsung Galaxy Active 2 watch. My son gave it to me for my Christmas gift a little after Christmas. I haven't figured out how to use the darn thing yet. The
Now you-
booklet you get with it is just a one page of a bunch of pictures. How do I learn how to use this thing?
So the answer to that question would be is there is a whole host of YouTube videos on that. Okay, so just go to YouTube, type in their Active 2 watch, type in how to use Active 2 watch, and you'll find all sorts of instructional videos on that. The Active 2 watch is a nice watch. It's the generation before the Galaxy 3. All right, so that's the previous generation. It's about $100 cheaper at Best Buy. So it's last year's model. And so and you'll have to look at the differences and decide, which one you want. But the best thing to do would be to YouTube it, and you'll find some great videos on that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm curious, what did my son pay for it? I have no idea what these things cost.
Well, you can look on Best Buy. It'll give you the price on, but just look on Best Buy. I think they're around $250 or something like that.
Dorothy Hanson has her hand up.
Dorothy?
Ron, has Google bought out the Fitbit?
Yes.
I thought that was made by Garmin.
No.
It was
Google
never made
bought
by Garmin.
Garmin's Garmin. Now, Fitbit has been bought by Fitbit. Used to be Fitbit, right? It's I think it's a Japanese company, and it was bought out by Google.
Named, which they do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Is there a
Caitlin?
reason that you did not buy a Garmin product?
No. This is the Fitbit Sense I bought.
Yes.
And
Is
Fitbit
there
is
a
now
reason you
Fitbit is
bought-
now owned by Google.
And it
is
has
there a
never been
reason
owned
you
by.
bought the Google thing instead of a Garmin product?
Yeah. Garmin, it has nothing to do with Garmin. Garmin's a totally separate company, totally separate product.
No,
Okay.
what I want to know is there a reason that you went with Google products instead of Garmin?
Probably. I haven't really done a lot of testing of Garmin watches. That's probably another topic another day, but I haven't really. I don't have anything against Garmin. I think Garmin makes great products. I just haven't really got into the Garmin watches. I don't really know a lot about them.
Well, my daughter rides the MS 150 every year and
Right.
has for 15 years. And she uses all Garmin tracking devices.
Sure.
And that's why I wanted to know.
Sure. Okay, thanks. Caitlin, Caitlin?
Yes, I have a question on the Fitbit Sense.
Mhm.
Is there any connection between that and either your smartphone or your computer? Do you need to have that, or where do you read the results that you get overnight?
It's all got to be linked to your smartphone. So there's an app that you download, and all these smart watches are linked to your smartphone, right? So you have to have a smartphone. Now, the Apple Watch is only available on Apple devices, all right? Whereas if you look at Samsung, you look at Garmin, or you look at Fitbit, they all are cross-platform. They work on Apple, they'll work on Android, they work on all devices, and and basically you download the app onto your smartphone, and the smartphone app links into the phone. Okay, and so you have to have a smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, don't buy a smartwatch. You're just wasting your money.
Okay, and how much did you say it cost? About $400?
Are you in Canada or the United States?
United States.
I think it's around $300. It's the cheapest. If you look at Apple, is the most expensive. The Galaxy 3 is the second, and then the third is Fitbit. It's the cheapest. It's around, I think it's around $300. But the Fitbit is being discounted heavily over Black Friday and Christmas, and you often saw $70 off on it. So it was a really good deal. So that's one of the reasons I bought it, is because I got quite a bit off on it. And then that deal may still be there. I'm not sure.
I bought my Sense for $329.
Time to go.
Okay. Yeah.
Just one more quick one. I have atrial fibrillation and I have a permanently embedded monitor.
Right.
And I find it frustrating not really knowing what's going on most of the year. I mean, I assume my doctor would let me know if something is going on, since they're periodically monitoring me. I would be more comfortable looking at my own results. Is there going to be a problem with my doctor?
No, I don't think so. Your pacemaker probably has telemetry built into it and
It's
sends
not a
a report.
pacemaker. It's just a permanent heart monitor.
Yeah, so it monitors your heart anyway, and it will send the data back to your doctor. And if you went back into periods of atrial fibrillation, I mean, they would get reports. So it's monitoring you anyway. So you have that already built into your pacemaker. But certainly, if you were interested, I mean, it would certainly tell you if you had atrial fibrillation or not.
One of the viewers just said it's available at Costco.
The Fitbit Sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see it. It hasn't been in Canada. I've looked, and they've got the Galaxy Active 2 at our Costco, but I haven't seen the Fitbit Sense. But that's probably coming. All right, you guys, listen, we've gone a half an hour over. Oh, wow. So I know this could go on forever, but listen, we'll see everybody next week. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for all our staff and everything. And we will see everybody in 1 week's time. And Bob and Hewey, eat your heart out. I'm going to get you next week.
More expenses. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye now. Bye-bye.